Welcome back, treasures. And if you're new here, thanks for joining me. This will be a first for you and a first for me. Doing a little unboxing for you of my new toy. This came on Amazon, and I'll go ahead and leave a link for you in the description if you're interested in checking it out too. Let's just get on through this plastic and get in here, see what we've got. It's a nice little case and a whole bunch of other stuff too. It is a wood burning tool. So let's have a little bit of fun with that today. This particular one came with some stencils, a pack of colored pencils, and it's got a sharpener for the colored pencils, some other tips, a little stand, I guess, with a little sponge here, and some more tip options. But here is the actual tool itself, and it has a dial where you can adjust the heat setting as well. So let's play around with that and burn some Scrabble pieces. I just have all these extra pieces of Scrabble game, but I don't have the board. I don't have all the pieces to make my own board. So I decided to use these pieces and make some of my own runes. Now, full disclosure, I don't know much about runes. I've only seen some rune symbols, and I just looked up a picture of some rune symbols to get some ideas. So there's some legitimate rune symbols here, and some just kind of made up of my own and others' design. But you know what? That's okay. And for our purposes of this craft today, it's not totally matter if they're legitimate at all. So I'm just drawing out some shapes to give me a guideline for when I'm burning, so I don't just go freehand willy-nilly. Then I took this craft outside and decided to use the tip that just was straight on the tool right out of the bag, and it kind of gave it a very homemade look, I would say. So it doesn't look professionally done by any means, which that's good because I was not going for a professional looking burn here. I was going for something that looked more authentic, I guess. So I turned the heat up on this to about 400 to get it to actually burn the back of these Scrabble pieces because they were coated with something, and also trying to move against the grain was very difficult, and it didn't burn smooth and well at all there. So the higher temperature gave me a little bit faster burn, which helped. However, you'll see I got my bare hands real close there. I do not suggest that. Here's what they turned out looking like afterwards, and I'm extremely happy with them. So now I'm going to shove them in a bag and pull out 7 of them randomly in a pattern. If you're new here and you're not yet a subscriber, be a treasure and hit that subscribe button below. It'll help you stay up to date on all of my crafting adventures. You may be wondering, what am I going to do with these runes? Well, I'm going to make over this frame into a cute little craft sign. So if you want to see how that turns out, stick around and you can find out what exactly I do with these runes as well. First, I'm just going to give it a light coat of brown paint, and I kind of have 2 different color of browns here, and I didn't want to completely coat it. I want to kind of see the pattern of that weird, it was kind of like a greenish swirl wood grain look to it. So I want part of that to come through, but not all of it. So I just kind of dabbed the paint on, kind of how you would do with a sponge, but I didn't have a sponge. I have this really crappy paintbrush, so I decided, okay, I'll use this really crappy paintbrush, but as you see, I have to pick hairs out of the paint the whole time, pretty much. But it worked, so it's fine. After I got the coat of brown on it, I let it dry. And then I have this book page that I was doing some testing on, printing onto the book page, trying to get it lined up right. So this was my test page, and I thought, oh, that will be good to use on this picture frame. So I'm just decoupaging this flower portion of these book pages onto two of the corners of my picture frame. And you'll see I just kind of tore it down the middle so that it will lay on the inside of that corner well. After I put the book pages on, I'm going to use some of this faux leather. It's just a brown paper bag that was ripped apart and then Mod Podged to itself. Mod Podged to itself. It's kind of hard to say. And I'm going to do that kind of in the corners and then a little bit in the middle as well. And this was hard to kind of get it to roll along the edges, so I did have to hold it a little bit more because it was kind of stiff, because the paper itself had already had several layers of Mod Podge put on top of it, and that made it kind of not as flexible anymore. But that was not a problem with a little bit of finger power there. So after that, I got that to stick, which I did have to hold it down until that layer in between, that Mod Podge layer, dried. And so I got that to stick, and then I came back and put a layer of Mod Podge over the whole entire thing, and that was really to just seal in everything, especially that paint, so that it wouldn't chip off, because I didn't sand the picture frame first, and it did have a glossy finish to it. So I gave that a good coat, and then I let that dry completely as well. After that dried, it's time to add the runes, and so I just kind of put them at the bottom here in the same order that I pulled them out of the bag, and then I'm just going to use this art craft glue that's kind of like a super glue and a E6000 together. I don't know how to describe it, and use that to stick these runes onto the picture frame. I really enjoy how this turned out, and I hope that you did too. If you want to see some more multimedia crafting, hit the playlist or that video there, and until next time, keep crafting, treasures.